Right now, at a wedding venue somewhere in the world, a newlywed couple is pausing mid-kiss. They're
Uh,
smiling brightly for a flashing camera,
yeah.
waving this emotional, tear-filled goodbye to a tunnel of cheering friends and family.
Right, the grand exit.
Exactly. And then, literally, the moment the camera shutter clicks, they turn right around,
Yeah.
they sneak back through a side door of the venue, and they just quietly finish eating their slice of cake. I mean, the fake exit has completely taken over.
It totally shatters that classic Hollywood illusion, doesn't it?
It really does.
You know, the image of the getaway car peeling off into the night with the tin cans sparking on the pavement. Well, it's largely a relic now.
Yeah.
What we're seeing instead is this complete re-engineering of how milestone events operate. We are prioritizing the captured image over the literal sequence of events.
Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we are deconstructing the ultimate 2026 wedding send-off. And you might be wondering, why are we dedicating our time to the last 15 minutes of a party?
Right, seems like a small window.
It does. But we've got our hands on this really comprehensive planning guide from the industry experts at Weddizer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's aptly titled PlanningSend.docs. And our mission for you today is to unpack why these final moments have become just as crucial and, honestly, vastly more complicated than the exchange of the vows themselves.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to look at the intense, basically hidden machinery required to execute this flawlessly without it descending into an absolute logistical nightmare.
Because the stakes are surprisingly high for this moment.
Mm.
I mean, the modern wedding exit is a highly orchestrated cinematic finale.
Definitely.
It requires a level of behind-the-scenes coordination that honestly mirrors a theatrical stage production. You've got multiple vendors who have to move in perfect synchronization.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we even look at the props or the luxury vehicles or like the specific trends dominating 2026, we have to understand the philosophy and the timing of the send-off.
Right.
Like, why does this specific 15-minute window hold so much weight for modern couples? Well, the Weddizer guide points out that the exit carries a heavy symbolic weight.
Sure.
It's the literal crossing of a threshold into a new journey. But, purely from an event planning and psychological perspective, the end of the night is often the very last physical image your guests will process before they leave.
That makes total sense.
Right. In the experience economy of 2026, couples aren't just hosting a dinner, they're curating a memory. So that final impression solidifies the emotional tone of the entire celebration.
Yeah.
And crucially, it has evolved into one of the most heavily photographed moments of the day.
Which means the conditions for that photograph have to be absolutely optimal. I mean, the goal is to provide a perfectly smooth, high-energy transition from the reception to the departure.
Exactly. High energy is key.
But here's the scheduling mechanic from the source material that really just shifts the paradigm.
Yeah.
Professional photographers are now directing couples to schedule this grand send-off while the vast majority of the guests are still present,
Yes.
rather than waiting for the actual bitter end of the reception.
The staged exit. Moving the climax of the night up the timeline, it just completely changes the definition of what a farewell actually is.
It's the post-credit scene strategy.
Oh, I like that.
Think about it, like a massive blockbuster movie, the studio puts this incredible, visually stunning scene after the credits, right?
Right? Yeah.
But they time the release of those credits perfectly.
Yeah.
So the audience is still in their seats to experience the reveal.
Hmm.
If you wait until the house lights come up and, the ushers are sweeping the popcorn and 90% of the theater has driven home.
You're performing for no one.
Exactly. You're performing this massive spectacle for an empty room.
What's fascinating here is the psychology behind that shift. By staging the exit early, couples are admitting that the energy of the crowd is a required prop for the photograph.
Wow, a prop.
If you wait until 1 in the morning, you're left with, like, a handful of exhausted guests. So the fake send-off transforms the goodbye from a literal, functional departure into an interactive performance piece for the guests.
That is wild.
You're inviting them to participate in the creation of a piece of art, which is that final photograph.
Which brings up a very practical problem.
Oh.
Well, if you're inviting 100 people to participate in a performance piece, you have to give them something to do with their hands.
Right. True.
And based on the Weddizer guide, the industry is currently locked in a heavyweight title fight between two dominant visual trends.
Oh, yes.
Sparklers versus bubbles.
It is an intense logistical showdown for sure. I mean, the appeal of sparklers is undeniable.
They look amazing.
They do. They provide an incredibly romantic atmosphere, this sophisticated nighttime ambiance, and they bathe the couple in this warm, dynamic golden light that looks just breathtaking on camera.
No doubt.
But the physical reality of executing a sparkler exit is incredibly demanding.
Demanding is putting it mildly. I mean, reading through the physical requirements to pull this off gave me secondhand anxiety.
It's a lot.
The guide is adamant that you cannot just run to the grocery store and buy standard 4th of July sparklers. You have to order specialized 20 to 36-inch long wedding sparklers.
Well, the mechanics of the burn time necessitate that length.
Right.
Because if you use standard 10-inch sparklers for a double-sided line of, say, 150 guests...
Which is a lot of people.
Exactly. The people at the beginning of the line will be holding burnt-out, smoking sticks of gray metal before the couple even reaches the midway point of the tunnel.
And the logistical hurdles just compound from there. Like, venues are now requiring specific fire permits just to allow them on the property.
Yeah, the red tape is real.
You have to measure and enforce safe physical distancing between the guests. You have to map out designated metal buckets filled with water or sand for safe disposal.
Yes.
You even have to assign specific coordinators, often multiple people, whose exclusive job is to rush down the line with butane torches to get them all lit simultaneously.
It's a military operation.
It really is. Yeah. And on top of all that, many venues are mandating that licensed staff supervise the entire 15-minute window.
Well, that friction you're describing, that is the direct result of a massive liability cascade within the wedding industry over the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, put yourself in the shoes of a venue owner.
Right.
You are handing open flames, literally sticks of burning magnesium that burn at 2,000 degrees to 100 partygoers.
Terrifying.
Partygoers who are wearing highly flammable, hairsprayed, expensive formal wear and who have likely been celebrating at an open bar for the last 5 hours.
That's the key right there, the open bar.
Exactly. Just picture Uncle Bob, who has had 3 too many signature cocktails, waving a 3-foot fire stick near a silk veil.
Oh, no.
The risk of someone's dress catching on fire is terrifyingly high. So you have to ask, are those golden hour photos truly worth the stress?
And many venue insurance providers have definitively answered no.
Right.
The permits, the mandated water buckets, the licensed staff, that is the venue protecting itself from the exact Uncle Bob scenario.
Makes sense.
And that intense bureaucratic friction is naturally pushing a huge wave of couples toward the path of least resistance, which brings us to bubbles.
The bubble send-off. It just sounds infinitely less stressful.
Oh, it really is. The popularity of bubbles is surging because they're the ultimate venue-approved alternative.
Yeah.
They're completely safe for children to operate. They sidestep the fire marshal permits entirely. Furthermore, they solve a massive lighting issue for daytime weddings where a sparkler's flame would just be completely washed out by the sun.
And let's look at the cleanup. You aren't sweeping up hundreds of sharp, charred metal rods in the dark.
So true.
The Weddizer guide also highlights that if you utilize biodegradable bubble solutions, they're entirely eco-friendly.
Which is huge right now.
Plus, there's a really smart efficiency hack here. Couples are personalizing the bubble bottles to double as the official wedding favors.
Oh, I love that.
Right, you're combining your exit prop with your guest keepsake, which streamlines the budget and the table settings.
And you achieve that whimsical, floating, kinetic energy in the photographs, but, without the underlying threat of property damage.
But let's say you're listening to this and you're thinking, well, I don't want the liability of fire, but bubbles feel a little too much like a children's birthday party.
Fair point.
The strict venue rules we just